I'm going to let William in just because I don't have long, so I want to get everybody in real quick. Hey, William, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Jeem? I'm just brushing my teeth really quick.
Hey, brush your tongue too, man.
Well, while he's brushing his teeth, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so I see the Jeem stream started, but then I was like, all right, I got to go play basketball. And then I come home and it's still going on. And then I come home and then it's like I listen to it and y'all are talking about the government limiting the internet in certain contexts. Should I wait till I'm done? Or?
Yeah, brush and then
Go ahead.
Your question.
Okay. Hold on for a second.
We will.
And if I may, one of the big thing that I wanted to get your elaboration on, or your reaction to, I guess, is I thought it was hilarious, the part of the stream where you were reacting to, and the part that came up about the divinity of Christ and that whole kind of Trinitarian, topic, and the whole subordination in terms of relationship versus ontology. I was laughing at your reaction to that portion of it, and if you wanted to kind of touch on it or talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. What in particular was? I forget because we've covered a lot of stuff. What in particular was the part that was like really cool?
It was kind of funny. I think it was young Don said something about how he came to the realization that there would, of the debunking of Christ's divinity. I'm trying to remember the particulars. I suppose I'm struggling. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, guys, this is a fan film I made when I was 14. Please enjoy.
Whoa.
But there we go.
Oh boy.
There you go. But
wait, what is this?
It might be private. I don't know if you guys can watch it. If it's not private, I will privatize it after the stream. But it's just
wait, Jeem. Is that the same The Wolfman starring Benicio del Toro from 2010? Did you direct that?
Yeah, dude. When I was like 13, I made that movie. I got Benicio on speed dial. So.
Dude, yeah.
That's how it is. But anyway, so this is the thing. This is why I tell you guys, all right, why I tell everybody, like, you guys have to take a while. And people always think it's cult, like, oh, you don't need a while. It should just be self-evident. You remember that pagan guy I debated when I first destroyed myself last year?
Yep.
He was like, paganism self-evident. Anyway, so I remember that when I look at this stuff, I can tell what young Don's going to say before he says it. I know the verses he's going to use. I know the logic he's going to use. I know the counsels he's going to quote. But the problem is, like, when you first hear that, you think, oh no, I have to change my position. And that's what young Don did. But the mature thing to do is go, wait a minute. There must be some kind of explanation for this that I haven't discovered. And perhaps I should take a few months just on this topic before I start declaring my old position is Kaffir, and now I have to go become Messianic or Unitarian or whatever. So there is nuance. There are plenty of theologians that speak the way young Don would want them to speak, but he doesn't read theologians. He says, I read Rock and Sand by Father Josiah Trenum, therefore I mastered orthodoxy. I mean, it's ridiculous. So that would be my thought on that.
Oh, yeah. I also... go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the debate between the Vision Dude and Young Don, but given what I know about Young Don, he probably got cooked, right?
No, there wasn't a debate. Young Don left Christianity and he went on Myth Vision to tell everybody why he's an atheist now.
Oh, they weren't debating Christianity versus atheism? Oh.
No, he's an atheist now.
Well, that's the logical conclusion of Protestantism. Like, I don't really know what to tell you. I mean, because when you look at like the atheists, like the new atheists, like Richard Dawkins and all them, they literally have the same like Calvinistic view of God. Like, oh, he's a bearded man in the sky who's going to smite you for no reason, and God's just going to send you to hell for no reason. Double predestination. You need to be ashamed of all the evil sin. Like, it's. I mean, it's just really no surprise, and it's sad, honestly. Like, I didn't want young Don to become an atheist. I don't want anyone to become an atheist.
I agree. I agree. I was trying to find. There's some great stuff. Even though I think The Simpsons can be extremely blasphemous, there are in the early seasons some stuff where they do episodes where they seem to have a grasp on theology, and it just made me realize like the creators of The Simpsons have a better grasp on theology than some of these atheists who have authored books. And so it's just sad. It's just very sad. But you're 100% correct. Like they think it's like Family Guy, where they just have a dude with a beard sitting on a cloud, and for some arbitrary reason, he's mad at you. And if you don't believe that, you're gonna roast like a rotisserie shawarma for eternity. It's like, yeah, if that was the gospel, if the gospel was believe in this man on the cloud smiting you like Zeus, or I will cook you for eternity, I would also probably say, yeah, this is kind of like, what is this stuff? Like, you guys are talking nonsense. And young Don makes it sound like that. Like, how could God crucify himself? And he just has not read anything into anything, sadly.
There is a
And
problem
that's
with a lot of churches when they also depict God as this man in the cloud in their own media when trying to reach the children or other converts, and they actually start to believe it themselves.
Well, I can tell you where that comes from. Catholics originally
Yep.
started portraying the father as the old man thing, but it was meant to be a manifestation. So they don't think like God actually looks like that 24 hours a day. It was just supposed to be a representation. It's like if man is the image
Indeed.
of God, and we're the image of God before Christ was incarnated, because Adam's the image of God as well, then how does that work? And it's supposed to be a symbolic manifestation. But then the Protestants, especially the evangelicals and stuff, actually thought, wait a minute, it's Uncle Grandpa. And then they just thought,
Oh, God.
Yeah, and also like it's
Grandpa.
similar to like how like a lot of icons, yeah, they're historical, but also certain icons, like you said, Jeem, contain metaphors. I think you mentioned in one of your videos how there's this one with Christ, like literally with the gospel in his hand. That's not, we're not saying that like he actually had the gospel in his hand, like he read the gospel. It's just a symbolic, like he brought the gospel, you know. So like I think
like
God
the
being
day
depicted
stuff.
as like a sorry, what?
I was saying for the Orthodox, the Ancient of Days stuff, it's supposed to be like that icon of what appears to be the Father is just supposed to be Christ reflecting the image of the Father. It's not literally the Father, but since we can portray Christ, it's a reflection of the Father. You see how that works? Like we don't actually think the Father looks like Santa Claus.
But like I don't I think the Catholic view is the same way, because like he's not literally a bearded man in the sky. It's just to illustrate, I guess, his majesty almost, you know, because we see on earth, because like kings, all authority like derives ultimately from God, and kings are one of like the kind of I mean, it's not a manifestation, but it's like an icon of the majesty of God, and so that's why they kind of look like, you know, those paintings from like the Renaissance. They just looked like they depicted God as like a monarch from that time.
Right. Well, again, that's just you're correct about that. That's the symbolic stuff. If you wanted to ask a Catholic, show me as close as you can what God looks like without blaspheming, how would you rendition God? I would just do this. This is supposed to be the beatific vision. And the Catholic would say, yeah, this is again not perfect. It's not really what you're going to see, but based on our human limitation, this is seeing God. So the Catholics wouldn't say God looks like Santa Claus or anything like that. So it's just, again, people don't understand, and then they take their theology from cartoons. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, also I know there's like I've heard arguments that that like some Orthodox aren't like they think that the Catholic sacred art style is like not like how would I say like it's, some have actually said like it's like borderline like demonic, but like I don't know like what's the position on like Orthodoxy.
For what? Sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your sentence.
Like that, I'm sorry, I'm just coming from basketball, and I saw the stream. I was like, ooh, yes, let's dive into that.
I think
kind
I
of
know.
like
I
how,
think I know what you're trying to get at.
like that some
Go ahead.
Orthodox view like Western Christian art as like
Oh, yeah.
like
Sorry.
it's not okay. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They would view this is the part they would view as bad, because Western Christian can mean anything. There's some really great art that Orthodox would love. And there's even some that looks more like the Renaissance style, but it's like that similar classical style that, again, Orthodox would probably be fine with. The problem that Orthodox have is that they think that a lot of the, maybe starting in like the 1400s, Catholic art in that time period went toward like sensuality, so a little more like emotional, a little more passionate. And so the Orthodox just said, no, it's supposed to be really somber, and if you want to show emotion, show a little bit in the face, but that's it. We're not going to have like Christ crying on the cross covered in blood. It just wasn't the Orthodox way. And really, the Orthodox is not going to say like, oh, we don't believe in the passion or anything. It just, we don't want to image that because it's not going to be a proper representation of what happened to Christ, really. So we're just going to have Christ on the cross without a ton of details, and you understand what it means, and that's kind of it. That's the Orthodox approach.
Okay.
That's it.
So I guess they're supposed to be more like interpretive.
Well, if you look at the icons, most of the time in icons, Christ has the same expression in all of them, whether it's a sad event or a happy event. It's just supposed to mean that yesterday and today and in the future, Christ does not change. And so if you want to know what is this icon about, look at the surroundings, not at someone's face, because it doesn't want to put so much emotion onto the faces of saints and prophets and of Christ, obviously. But it's not like they would say, oh, everything a Catholic's ever made is demonic. No, that's not the position.
Okay. Yeah, because like I really try my best, or I try to try my best to like separate like, okay, what is the ortho-bro position, and then what is the actual proper Orthodox positions on these matters. That's part of the reason why I come on this show. But I think like with the different kind of movements in like art in like the Western Christian world, I like how each kind of time period, because if you actually look at the early Renaissance, some of the icons look almost like from like Byzantium. It's really cool because that's like when there was a lot more like exchange, like when the people were fleeing Byzantium and going to Rome and whatnot. But I think it's interesting because like each time has some sort of unique thing that they were trying to get at. Like the Renaissance, like you said, was about like the sensuality and like the emotional, and then the Baroque was more of like the beauty of like how God can like I don't know how would I phrase it. It's kind of like the Counter Reformation. It was trying to show, because like with all the iconoclasm, it was just trying to show like, no, icons are awesome. Our churches should be beautiful and ornate, and it's very just like royal. And I really resonate with the Counter Reformation style probably the most as a Catholic.
Yeah, I understand that. There's a lot of different styles. So like for even in the East, it's not just Greek or Byzantine. There's a distinction. The Russian style, they have larger eyes, and the elements that they portray are usually a little different compared to the Greek style. And then you also have the Egyptian style, the Syriac style, the early Latin period in Italy and North Africa and Gaul and Spain. There's many different styles, and like even Catholic artistry, like you said, there's Renaissance, which is kind of a little overly sensual because of the revival of Cicero and all these philosophers and stuff that they were reading. But then they tone it down and they focus more on the beauty. And so, like someone said, like the adoration of the Lamb, for example, there are some very beautiful Catholic styled or just plain Catholic icons or imagery that I think are totally fine, and most Orthodox would have no problem with it. They just say, hey, we're not going to put that in our church, but it's a nice painting and it's fine. So I think that would be, it just really depends on the time period. Like MKG says, the Renaissance was about Roman pagan / Christian fusion. That's why atheists and Muslims try to dunk on the Christians with that. Yeah, so like that the Renaissance does take up way too much of people's brain inventory. Like they act like that's all Christianity is, when it's not. It was really a century or so of art.
Yeah, it's a blip.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I try to do, like not just on my channel, but going on to what you all were probably talking about earlier with the chronic internet usage and whatnot, is like I do this in real life, like a normal person, is when I talk to kind of Catholics that are getting kind of too like how would I say, like they become a little too intoxicated by like the Eastern Christianity, and which is not like, I'm not saying you can't admire another traditional apostolic Christian sort of tradition, but they kind of do it because they have like the kind of self-hating, like anti-Western mindset of like the, oh, we're so lame, we don't have any culture. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Our culture is beautiful, you know. And that's what I really try to help people understand is like us as Westerners, it's more than just powdered wigs and the suburbs, right? It's literally like more than 2 millennium. I mean, 2 millennium if you're talking about purely the Christian world, which is what I like to focus on. But I
Definitely.
mean, we have so many like different movements. Like we have different styles of churches, and like it's so beautiful. And I wish my fellow Westerners would realize that about our Catholic Christian heritage.
Yeah, so there's I did a stream about like this people who they convert to Orthodoxy and then they overly idolize like Byzantium and then they think like all the West is rat shit and stuff. And it's cringy, and also it's not gonna last. Like eventually, a few years down the line, they're gonna go, wait a minute, I miss that Western style heritage and stuff. And I definitely just don't be too extreme in any of these positions. So that's all I would say. I don't mean to just kind of cut short, but I do have to go for now, guys. So thank you very much for all the call-ins. I do
Thank you,
appreciate
Jeem.
these topics. So thank you guys very much, and you can always join next time, of course.